And it's possible to get Haiti and Fenrir out at the same time. I have Haiti out and I have 15% damage increase and a massive bleed on the target. Oh my god. A lot has changed for Hunters now moving into the next expansion, The War Within, as they just got a complete talent revamp and slight rework for all 3 specializations. So in today's video, we're going to be covering all of those core changes and what they could mean for your class. This is a great video for people that are already playing Hunter to know what's going on, but also for somebody who's interested in possibly checking out the Hunter as a new main, as we're going to be going into detail all of the cool new synergies that they've got, powerful defense and powerful offense that they've got moving forward. So if you want to make sure that you're staying ahead of the competition, smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. Now you're going to notice that basically every talent tree is completely reorganized, both the Hunter baseline talent tree as well as the spec specific talent trees. Now on the baseline talent tree, their main focus was improving defense and durability for Hunters. I think that it's going to be surprising if they end up being squishy after all of this. Something like natural mending is getting improved, beefed up, and it's basically a talent point given to you immediately at the top of the tree. For every 10 focus that you are going to spend, it is going to reduce the cooldown of your exhilaration, which is really important as we have other talents that synergize with it, like increasing our maximum health by 8% and exhilaration providing a heal over time effect onto ourselves when we use it. The next most notable one is that survival of the fittest is now going to be able to get 2 charges. So Survival of the Fittest provides you 30% damage reduction. You can take additional talents to reduce the cooldown by 30 seconds. So it's about a minute and a half cooldown, shield wall or bark skin type of effect that you've got for the Hunter, which is, you know, double basically the defense in terms of cooldown trading, whether this is in Mythic Plus when you've got like a hard-hitting attack that's about to hit you, or in PvP when your opponents are sending their most powerful cooldowns. You're going to have a lot more cooldowns to trade specifically with those burst moments while still staying on the offensive. Not to mention that there are a lot of talents that also just amplify the effects of Survival of the Fittest. There are hero talents that make it heal over time. There are hero talents that make it reduce cooldown. So there's a huge amount of synergies focused on just beefing you up and making you tankier, which is an important time to talk about the new mastery for Survival Hunter specifically. So for Survival Hunter, it's going to be you and your pet deal 16% increased damage and take 6% reduced damage. Now this bonus will be increased by 100% when you are within 25 yards of your pet. So that's 32% damage increase and 12% damage reduction. It's basically turning your mastery into versatility. You're basically going to have 2 versatility stats, because versatility increases your damage and decreases the damage you take. Now your mastery increases your damage and reduces the damage that you take. So if you stack versatility and you stack mastery, I don't know how far this is going to scale up or how insane it's going to get, but you might just be borderline invincible. That has been the main synergy point that I've seen here so far with this mastery rework for survival, is that you are just going to be an absolute unit, I think, an absolute tank with these types of combinations. Basically, you're just getting 2 versatilities. Kind of wonder if they're okay with that, with this basically, it's basically just a cloned versatility with a little bit of a limitation or not, but it's likely going to be really powerful, especially if it's enough for you to survive like main hard-hitting attacks in PvE, or enough to just make you statically immune to death in PvP. So that is something to note and take into account. Binding Shot, interestingly enough, in the previous build, it got changed into a root, which made it really bad. But after testing it yesterday, it's actually back to being a stun. And on this tooltip, it says it's a stun. And if it remains a stun, that's going to be really good for Hunter. I don't really understand why it wouldn't remain a stun, considering other classes like Warriors are getting increased durations on their shockwaves and things like that. Hunter didn't need more roots. You already have 20 different ways to be able to root a target, so Binding Shot being a root is completely redundant. I would really like to see it remain as a stun as it is here, but the thing that makes me think that it might not, and maybe this is just a mistake on the beta, is that there's another talent that says targets rooted by Binding Shot, and then knockback and a whole bunch of other choices here will deal 10% less damage to you after the effect ends for 8 seconds. So a little bit uncertain as to whether or not this is going to be a root or a stun. I'm really hoping that it does remain as a stun though, and if you can get the talent here, you can get it up to a 4-second stun. which would likely be really good, especially when you're trying to land CC or trying to escape from enemy melee attackers, or just trying to like stun lock a bunch of trash mobs in a dungeon, which is generally a very desirable mechanic in PvE. I think that this will likely be really good if they can manage to keep it on that side. Now, there's a new talent called Scout's Instincts. The only problem with it is that you have to go through misdirection. So if you're in content where misdirection is just not valuable, this is likely most notably PvP, you gotta like waste a talent point in order to get to it. But it's basically you cannot be slowed below 80% of your normal speed while aspect of the cheetah is active. So it's basically going to give you freedom during cheetah. In a lot of cases, I would combo my Master's Call and some of my Hunter guides that you've seen, Master's Call with cheetah, because it gives you the most bang for your buck in terms of getting away. This would enable you to have some mobility while using freedom, possibly on a teammate, getting them out of some important route, like a solar beam route or something for a balanced route in PvP, and still have some personal mobility and defense yourself, given that it's going to be able to suppress snares. There are also other talents that basically make it so when a trap triggers, you're going to gain aspect of the cheetah for 3 seconds, but it has a 1-minute cooldown. So if you lay down a tar trap, you're going to get cheetah and sprint away. So these talents have a lot of synergy with each other in terms of getting you mobile and getting you around the map, whether it's in a dungeon, you know, you're getting close to mobs and you want to be able to escape away, or a mechanic's about to come. You could trigger a trap and then escape to safety, and still save the Master's Call possibly for something else later on. So those had some interesting synergies, but it was unfortunate that you had to like drop misdirection, or you have to take misdirection in order to get to it. The next thing is that they are introducing basically greater purge to Hunter, which is tranquilizing shot can now remove an additional magic effect from a target, which is basically going to make it worth actually pressing. In a lot of cases against like classes in PvP, at least, they already have so many debuffs that purging 1 is just like you're taking a 1 in 8 chance and actually purging the thing that you're really trying to purge. Now being able to purge 2 off greatly increases your odds in terms of hitting that powerful magic debuff off of the target. Now for PvE, more notably, if it only removes an enrage effect, because enrages are generally only a PvE thing, it'd be nice if they could actually make some enrage mechanics more so on classes like it used to be in older expansions. I think Death Knights had like an enrage effect in the past. Boomkins used to have enrage effects, Warriors as well, because the enrage interaction is just like not really a thing anymore in PvP. But in PvE, if you remove an enrage effect, you'll get a reduced cooldown on your trank shot, and this will depend on the frequency of enrage mechanics. If you really need to be constantly suppressing them, it's likely I wouldn't think that's going to be the case, but the greater purge is definitely going to be really good when it comes to PvP specifically. We've got a choice node here now between Bursting Shot and Scatter. So you are going to have to trade off some mobility. Bursting Shot used to, I believe, be on the Marksmanship tree. So now it's on the baseline tree, so any Hunter spec can get it. I don't know I wouldn't say it's like a huge deal. Like Scatter, I guess in PvE, if you want an AoE interrupt, it's going to give you an extra additional AoE interrupt, which in PvE will be really good. But in PvP, I'm imagining you're almost always going to take Scatter Shot. There is a new talent now that when you fall below 40% health, you can reset Binding Shot and Scatter Shots. It has a 25-second cooldown. So you can get a Binding Shot stun, somebody bursts you down, and you can reset all that and set up like this cool reset moment, crowd control chain to maybe pull off some like miracle mode to save yourself, while maybe putting Scatter Shots onto the healer, and then you dip low and you can get another scatter to be able to peel for yourself. So not only your just main baseline stats are making you tankier, you're going to have CC resets that are possibly also going to make you a lot more durable and a lot tankier as well. The next choice node is Explosive Trap versus Steel Trap. I believe it used to be Intimidation with Explosive, so now you can just get Intimidation by itself, and you can choose whether you want a knockback or a root. And, you know, depending on if Binding Shot ends up being a root or ends up being a stun, you know, you could go for Steel Trap for a root or a High Explosive Trap for a knockback. And this gives you now 2 knockbacks. So you could Explosive Trap, knock everything away, Bursting Shot, knock everything away, have a ton of area of effect disruption, which is really good for just interrupting mobs, although, you know, knocking them away from stacking up on AoE could be bad for you. But even in PvP, being able to knock people off of cliffs with the old school Explosive Trap, it felt like you really couldn't get this one because Intimidation was such a, you know, you needed a stun in order to land your CC. Now it's like, it's just a root, you know, it's competing with a root. You might actually be able to take High Explosive Trap in battleground situations more often than not. So I think that this is a nice rearrangement with these ones specifically. The next thing as well is that they're trying to make, there's this weird thing now where they want you to be able to cast Intimidation even if you don't have a pet, but as survival, you are never not going to play with a pet. I mean, look at your mastery, right? You do more damage and take less damage when you have a pet and you're near the pet. So this talent is basically only for lone wolf marksmanship hunters. I can't really see it, so I don't really know why it's available to all hunters. You know, I feel like this is something that like either could be baseline to marksmanship hunter or just like not on the hunter tree at all, because Beastmaster hunters need their pets. Survival hunters need their pets. You're never not going to do this. So it's a little bit of a dead talent here in regards to this one. This is an interesting one, and I don't know how the interaction is 100% going to work on it just yet, but Kindling Flare. Stealth enemies revealed by flare remain revealed for 3 seconds after exiting the flare. So if you like flare a vanish from a rogue, does this mean like after they've left it, they still can't vanish for a second? This could be like some anti-rogue tech in PvP. In PvE, I'm not sure if there's like ever been trash mobs where they're stealthed, and if they move out of the flare, they've immediately stealth again, and now they won't be able to. And maybe they're going to incorporate some type of stealth mobs in PvE that you want to be, taking into account with that. Roar of Sacrifice is a lot more accessible, although you still kind of have to go after one that's not great, which is Trailblazer. Your movement speed is increased by 30% anytime you have not attacked for 3 seconds, which again is probably going to be almost never. So like being able to get to this cool cheetah talent, you got to get misdirect. Being able to get to your primary defensive cooldown in PvP, you have to get this thing that is just like almost never going to be up, except maybe at the beginning of the game when you're running around in camouflage. So it's a little bit unfortunate that it's kind of lobbed down there. Instead, Emergency Salve is a talent that is going to be really powerful in PvE. Feign Death and Aspect of the Turtle are going to remove poisons and disease effects from you. So these are really generally good interactions with mechanics that exist in Mythic Plus. Could somewhat be decent in PvE as well, especially against Death Knights. Being able to feign death and remove off some of the cooldown-oriented diseases from Death Knights is going to be really good. Aspect of the Turtle removing poisons and diseases when you're getting low health, so something like wound poison stacking up so you can receive a little more healing against a rogue. But I think specifically a Death Knight is probably where you're going to see this get a little bit more playtime than anything else, at least when it comes to PvP. Death Chakrams are just here now on the bottom of the tree, really easily accessible. You can see we've got the cooldown reduction towards all of our aspects and things like this. They've got talents to increase their damage over time effects, and when targets get lower health, those are going to do even more damage. They've brought in the Ghillie suit, which is you take 20% reduced damage while camouflage is active, and this will persist for 3 seconds after you leave camouflage. So now we got 2 charges of survival of the fittest. Camouflage can act as a pseudo bark skin. We have feign death in PvP, which reduces damage by 90% for 3 seconds when you feign death. So you've just got like constant ways to just like temporarily negate a significant amount of damage, on top of having your baseline mastery for survival, just making you really tanky. So this entire tree has focused really heavily around just making you tankier and making you less squishy. So I think that's going to be highly desired, especially with some of the hero talents, specifically like Dark Ranger. You got a lot of self-healing on that one. I've seen some duels between hunters and other classes that literally almost look like they're never going to end. They look really crazy. So this defense on top of that is absolutely wild. Moving out into like the survival specific tree that's absolutely crazy is something like Sulfur Line Pockets, which is going to be every 3 quick shots is replaced with Explosive Shot at 100% effectiveness. So this is absolutely crazy. So Kill Command's cooldown is reset when you have a 30% chance to fire an arcane shot. So whenever you press kill command, or whenever you get a reset, you're going to get a chance to just reset your explosive arrow, which is absolutely wild. And with the changes to explosive shot now, if you already have an explosive shot, it's going to just immediately make it trigger on the target anyways. So you've got this crazy amount of just explosive shot reset potential onto a target. You have a whole bunch of crit damage modifiers just to make you see like absolutely bonkers numbers. You got an explosive shot reset here. You've got proc based damage. You've got crit modifiers. You're increased in durability. You're super tanky. You can, like I think earlier I was critting like 1.2 million or something on my mongoose bites. These explosive shot procs are super fun when you're playing through. You can see I got another one. I could shoot it while it's still up. It's just going to explode right away. I get the full value of it. I don't have to sit here and wait for it to end before I shoot the next one if I want to get it in there. Rotation is super smooth. You've got increased durability. You got the double shield walls that you can pop. The aspect of the cheetah mechanics in order to suppress snares. It is my bet that Hunter is looking a lot better. At least Survival is looking a lot better in this current iteration. I think like leaps and bounds improved. They've made Spearhead a more powerful offensive cooldown. It is now basically going to increase your chance to critically strike your target by 30%. And when we've seen mechanics like this for like Windwalker Monk, I think it was like Tiger Palm, a different target, you get a massive stat enhancement, especially at the beginning of an expansion when stats are already low. It's going to be massive. And then Deadly Duo, the cooldown of your Spearhead is just reduced. So you get a 1-minute cooldown Spearhead, which charges you to the target, gives you 30% crit. And now its Bleed will increase your critical strike damage against the target by 30%. So now you're critting more, and your crit damage is increased against the target. That is absolutely wild. You're going to be doing massive crit damage onto the target here as Survival. It's really crazy. I like how they've laid out the talent trees in a way that you can kind of like go for single target or go for AoE. You don't feel like you're really taking something that you don't need to necessarily take on the survival talent tree. I'd say that this is like a massive improvement as far as reworks are concerned for survival hunters specifically. I'm really liking this. It's absolutely awesome. You've got reduced cooldown and coordinated assault. Look at this, 1 minute cooldown coordinated assault, 1 minute cooldown spearhead. These are things in PvP, right, that are desirable. Your cooldowns being really low cooldown, crit damage modifiers for massive big crits, cooldown reduction and proccing more burst, tankiness, cooldown trading, passive durability. I mean, this is basically everything that you could ask for irregardless of tuning, because even once this is tuned, these are things that are just incredibly desirable. I'm really expecting survival, to be really crazy. Now, for Marksmanship Hunter, you're getting all the same Hunter talent tree benefits that Survival Hunter is getting. You're getting all the increased durability, but you don't have the mastery, right? You don't have that damage reduction and damage increase change coming your way. Some of the changes that you're going to want to pay attention to on this side is the rearrangement of the tree. Again, you got multi-shot, AoE moving down the center, so you can move around it and get your single target abilities more accessibly. Surging shots is no longer a competitive node. It's just moving down along the path. It's really easy to get. One of the main changes that I noticed was Wailing Arrow, and they've combined it basically with Legacy of the Windrunner and put them together. So aim shot will coalesce wind arrows, and then when you've reached a certain amount of them, it's going to convert aim shot into Wailing Arrow, and Wailing Arrow resets the cooldown rapid fire, generates 2 charges of aim shot. It's a really big hit shadow attack, and because it does shadow damage with the Dark Ranger, you have talents that basically you heal for 15% of all the shadow damage you do. It's going to turn it into a bit of a self heal. You can activate it immediately with True Shot, so you can see that I've got my Wailing Arrow. I need to equip a bow though. All right, we're going to equip a bow real quick. We can use our Wailing Arrow, and it's going to silence the target. And when I dueled people, it was silencing players. So I think it honestly should silence players. It makes it a little bit more appealing, at least, to take in PvP specifically. So I think if they wanted to remain a viable option in PvE, that they should definitely let it remain being a silence. The fact that it's no longer an extra keybind is also really nice. You can kind of just do your rotation, work your way through, coalesce wind arrows. You can see them towards the top right here, as I'm at 3 or 4 stacks right now. It takes quite a bit to get to them though. So if you don't have True Shot to like immediately activate the Wailing Arrow, it's going to take you a while before you ultimately get to them. You see I just got 6 more procs right there. We're still just procking up. Another proc to aim shot. 7 stacks. It takes a while to get to 20 if you don't have True Shot, is what it's looking like right now. Maybe if I have Black Arrow on the target as well would be good with my hero talent trees. But it's nice because the Wailing Arrow also fits a little bit more into the fantasy of Sylvanas, I think, as well. So it would be nice if this was a bit more viable of an option in terms of a build. I think leaving it as a silence, the fact that it synergizes with the self-healing is probably enough in its own that it's likely going to be competitive in a PvP environment. Also, Void Elf gets these procs which turn your attacks into shadow damage, which I believe also scales with the healing. So being a Void Elf hunter with the Dark Ranger could actually be a thing in terms of overall self-sustain. But we're almost at 20 stacks here. We've been talking for a while, so this is taking a lot. My True Shot is basically almost off CD again, so I could maybe get a double Wailing Arrow, right? So right here we got the Wailing Arrow. This is going to reset all of our aim shots and our rapid fire, so we can just immediately pew pew, drop all of our aim shots, and then we could technically True Shot again and then get that Wailing Arrow almost immediately, and then get a double silence effect, get a double self-heal effect from all the shadow damage that it's doing. I think that this is a lot better. I think it's a lot cleaner. It's a lot less bloated. I like that they've combined kind of both like the old school Windrunner of Sylvanas before she's corrupted with like the Wailing Arrow effect of maybe possibly after she becomes corrupted from the Banshee as far as fantasy is concerned. I think it's laid out a lot better like that. It's just a matter of whether or not it's actually going to be valuable. And I think having it be a silence would likely increase its value. But the same benefits to Marksman as Survival with Explosive Shot. So you can do like a salvo volley, which will be when you volley, you put Explosive Shot on the target, and then you can Explosive Shot. It'll explode that first Explosive Shot immediately and let you get like a chain reaction of massive explosive shots, which could be super fun for Marksmanship specifically. So I really like this. They kind of nerfed Lone Wolf though. It's only giving you a 5% damage increase, down from 10% when you don't have a pet. I think it's because PvE hunters felt like they had to take this, but then they couldn't Bloodlust. But I don't understand why they don't just put a talent like this one where you can use Bloodlust without a pet. And it just, you know, why not just make a talent where you can Bloodlust without a pet? And then if you want to be a hunter who wants to play with no pet, you can play with no pet and everything is okie dokie. to me, I feel like that's a better change than nerfing the lone wolf, because even me, I like playing with no pet. Sometimes I don't want to manage it, especially in battlegrounds. I don't want to manage it. I just want to kind of run around and play like a sniper and play Legolas and not even have a pet. So I think incorporating some more talents like they've done for intimidation, for bloodlust, and possibly for roar of sacrifice and all these other things would be nice, because I think there are a lot of hunters. Let me know if you're one of those hunters that wants to be able to play with lone wolf, but you feel like you can't lose the pet utility in order to do it, especially in PvP situations. I would personally like that. Although it is cool to have the synergy of the pet, some people don't want. They want to simplify their class, or they want a specific flavor. They don't like the pet flavor. So I think making that more of an option would definitely go a long way. We got Serpent Sting talents, Serpent Sting applying it from aim shot. I don't think that is necessarily new here for Marksmanship specifically. I think mostly with this, it's just laying out the talents in a much more accessible manner. But the lone wolf nerf kind of sucks. For Beast Mastery, this one I didn't get to spend a huge amount of time with, so this is kind of the initial reactions to it along with you. This one is the same though as the other ones. You get all the same layout in terms of defense on the other side, but as we move through the tree, we got Kill Command, Cobra Shot, Animal Companion, Barbed Shot, all really accessible, powerful effects. It seems like I'm not like, and you know, some people say that like there's not much choice for the beginning part of the talent trees, but the whole point of the talent tree is that while you're leveling, you get something, you know, a little talent point to put in. It's supposed to be playing off that. I don't think it's that these top talents are supposed to be optional really, but they've got multi-shot laid out in the middle, so I'm imagining that they've laid this out in a way where you can kind of go for AoE or you can go for single target, depending on it what situation you're in. Obviously in PvP it's generally you're going for single target, but if you're going for PvE or dungeons, you're probably going to be going more so for AoE. Dire Beast here onto towards the right side. Pet damage, Bestial Wrath. I don't feel like I'm seeing anything in here that's like making me not want to go. I think Barrage, that was a change for Marksman as well. Barrage, a little like fire, rapid fire AoE. I don't know how good it's actually going to be, but Murder of Crows is also now changed. It's a passive. Every 5 kill commands will just summon a Murder of Crows, so you don't need to have that extra keybind. You have to pay attention to the stacks and then make sure you're kill commanding the thing that has the highest health that you're going to get the maximum value from this, but it's possible that Murder of Crows could be making a comeback. I think that this is a nice change to it. Call of the Wild is still on the talent tree. It's still probably going to be a really powerful one, especially with the Beast Cleave effects and how much damage it was doing in previous patches that I've seen so far. Every 3 casts of Dire Beast sounds the Horn of Valor, summoning either Haiti or Fenrir to battle. Haiti will increase the damage of all your pets by 15%, and Fenrir will pounce the primary target and put a heavy bleed. This seems absolutely disgustingly overpowered. 15% damage increase. Oh my god, dude. What? That seems absolutely wild. Okay. You can get Basilisk Collar. This is the bloodshed down here onto this side. Okay, that seems absolutely disgusting. Okay, so if we got Murder of Crows coming back, man, there's too many good talents. Beast Mastery has too many good talents, dude. Every 3 casts of Dire Beast. Now I just want to like press Dire Beast just to see what this looks like, but it's not going to let me. Why is it not going to let me? I don't know. Probably because my talent tree isn't locked in or something. Oh no, what did I just do? Can I do like I can't do anything. We just have to like throw all of these talent points in again. This is really unfortunate. This has been, okay, so this Fenrir talent tree I want to see. So I'm just going to take all the Dire Beast oriented stuff really quickly here so we can see what Murder of Crows and what this one looks like. And then we got to just like lock all this stuff won't matter for this. I need to see what Fenrir does, dude. I need to see. I need it. I'm SpongeBob right now. I wish I could click these faster than I am, or there was like some spam swipe way that I could do this, but I need to see Fenrir. I need to see Murder of Crows. So every 5 kill commands, so we're going to Dire Beast. Every 5 kill commands, we're going to get some big buff of Murder of the Crows. And then also every 5 Dire Beasts, we're going to be getting some crazy damage as well. So Dire Beast cooldown seems pretty long though, getting to that 5, but the kill command seems pretty fast. I don't know why I'm pressing steady shot. I don't think you're ever really going to press that as BM. So let's get this going. All right, we got a Dire Beast. All right, second Dire Beast in here. Let's see what Haiti does. I need to see Haiti. We got the kill command. Murder of Crows is on the target. I feel like that's going to add a lot of damage to your kill command. I think that like Murder of Crows and some pass expansions has been really strong. The fact that it's not an additional keybind anymore. You could also have like possibly AoE Murder of Crows depending on how many targets that you can actually get onto. But I think we're at 3 Dire Beasts. We got Murder of Crows proccing again on the target. It feels very smooth, feels very streamlined here for that specifically. It's really just a tuning thing whether or not it does enough damage to actually be strong or not. But I really like this. It kind of feels like you're ramping towards something while you're attacking as well, as opposed to just kind of like the mindless monotony of BM Hunter typically. So we 4th Dire Beast. This next one just summoned in Fenrir. So he's applied a very big bleed effect onto the target. 17k a tick, it looks like at the moment. And it's possible to get Haiti and Fenrir out at the same time. I have Haiti out and I have 15% damage increase and a massive bleed on the target. Oh my god. I mean, I don't know if classes really needed more pets, but that is going to be wild in terms of like your overall sustained damage going up, plus all of the same tanky durability changes that we've seen on the left side of the tree. I think that Hunter is definitely overall, after seeing all of this, definitely a winner in terms of reworks. Hopefully they're going to be looking at other ones. I'm looking specifically like an Enhancement Shaman. I think could use a little bit of a touch up, but this is looking nice. This is looking real nice. So if you guys enjoyed this video, the deep dive into the Hunter class and everything that it's got going for you, if it's intrigued you to check it out possibly as a main, or it's got you excited for your already existing main class, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.